Twitch channel. He's got the link to the Zoom meeting that'll, I think it auto starts at 8:45, and then there's also just a number for a call in. It's just a phone with just a number you can call. Anyways, we'll get going here on this. This article we got here put together. It's Hollywood, Predictive Programming, Propaganda, and Social Engineering. So the concept of predictive programming revolves around the notion that fictional media like movies or books can serve as a tool for higher-ups to subtly influence the masses. Don't want to get influenced by the higher-ups. No bueno there. But the notion was first proposed by theorist Alan Watts, who devised predictive programming as a subtle form of psychological conditioning provided by the media to acquaint the public with planned societal changes to be implemented by our leaders. And when these changes are put through, the public will already be familiarized with them and will accept them as a natural progression, thus lessening possible public resistance and commotion. So but then propaganda, in its essence, is a form of communication crafted to sway or persuade an audience towards a specific agenda. It often entails the selective presentation of facts, aiming to evoke emotional rather than rational responses through loaded language or biased information. Social engineering involves orchestrated efforts from governments, media, academia, or private groups to shape social attitudes and behaviors on a large scale. Its goal is to mold desired characteristics with a target population through the top-down influence. Recent movies and shows appear to have intentionally, emphasized divisive themes, particularly regarding race and political affiliation. This deliberate push for division is evident in production with the Waco Aftermath series, or at least that's my take on it, portraying the aftermath of the Waco standoff and its impact on American militia movements. But let's talk about Hollywood's knack for steering the pot. Recent shows and movies are not just entertainment, they're like blueprints for division, pushing the whole divide and conquer shtick and making it all about race and politics. So the first little trailer we're going to watch in racism and division example here is the Waco Aftermath. And we'll see anybody who watches this can feed back in on the chat or later just leave a comment on the article and, give your feedback. You think, if you got the same impression from this. So we're going to switch over to full screen and we'll check this thing out a little bit here.
I feel this undercurrent of rage in America.
Oh, life, it's bigger.
It's trying to ignite civil war.
It's bigger than you, and you are not me.
Waco has done something to them. It's united them.
I know I've said too much.
We helped create the monster
I've said enough.
we're trying to stop.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion.
The government refuses to take responsibility for its actions.
This thing was never going to turn out any different than it did.
The Bureau is now going to concentrate all of its efforts on foreign terrorism.
I'm trying to keep people from getting hurt.
David Koresh was preparing for a great war.
God has asked you to fight the forces of darkness.
If you steamroll them, you're just asking to have this happen again.
The government turned on him. Payback is coming.
These people are planning an attack.
What do you mean by attack?
A great divide opened among us, and I'm here to push against that, or I don't know what will happen. Whatever is coming soon.
on Showtime. And now stream Showtime on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, so I don't know. You'd have to check out some of the show beyond just the trailer there to really get a feel for it. But just from the trailer, I was feeling it just pretty much a reflection of what Biden and much of his entourage have been talking about, with just kind of singling out anybody who's like center of left, or center of left and then right of that. It's just being inclined to violence, pretty much, or inherently racist. It's just not an honest interpretation of the way things really are with most people. Most people don't really they're not about to snap, and I'm sure there's some of them out there, but most people just aren't really exactly what they're cracking people up to be. But anyways, Waco, the 5-part drama series portraying this searing aftermath of the disastrous Waco standoff and the Branch Davidian compound, an event the series galvanized American militia movements that helped radicalize, or they claim it helped radicalize Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. What the series really seems to do is mimic popular left-wing talking points that paint patriotic Americans as domestic terrorists. The series goes to great lengths to push the current narrative as seen on the January 6th show trial, rewriting history with the catchphrase fear-mongering seen in today's media and fascist government. But yeah. Next up, we have another one, but this is a movie, and this is The Forever Purge. And you'd have to, watch the movie once again to get a real feel for what it's doing. But this one really just like paints anybody, paints like the whole country pretty much, like who's Republican or leaning to the right, just paints as a bunch of racists that are just on the verge of snapping and killing people, because sure, it's just a movie, but why not make it about other groups that have been prone to violence? And it doesn't really seem like giving people a fair shake here. But anyways, we will once again go in and check this out full screen. You can see the trailer to get a little glimpse of what I'm talking about. And once again, I recommend, if you have time, you feel inclined, watch the movie, get back to me on the post and see if you from it, be interested to hear it. But anyways.
Powerless. How's that feel? This is the real purge. The forever purge!
Hurry up! They're coming! Come on! Follow me!
There's nowhere safe to go. No way to get help.
Oh my God.
We gotta find another way to get out of here.
This country's gonna collapse.
Mexico is opening its borders for the next 6 hours.
Let's go.
We're in this together.
Speak!
Does this translate?
Yeah, so if you go through and you watch that entire movie, you'll see that it pretty much, like, the entire protagonist class, or antagonist class, in the whole movie, going around killing people, it's just like a bunch of white stereotyped redneck people that are going out and hunting down like Hispanic people mainly. So it's really painting a picture there, and like it said in the preview towards the end, like Mexico ends up opening up their border and people are fleeing to Mexico from all these deranged, white people that are pretty much tearing up their own country. It's a pretty crazy stream, or pretty crazy flick there. But yeah. Anyways, let's see what I wrote about it. It says that the Forever Purge, in that movie, all rules are broken as a sect of lawless marauders decide that the annual purge does not stop at daybreak, and instead it should never end. Similar to other purge movies, the film starts with a single night of zero law across the nation, where people are free to commit any crime they choose. The movie, however, has a far different slant than the previous purge movies, with white redneck stereotype people targeting Hispanic illegal immigrants primarily. Once again, drawing on the rhetoric of the left, pushing the propaganda that most Republican voting individuals in the country are closet racists with violent tendencies just waiting to be unleashed. And that's kind of what that whole movie's about. So you could say, hey, it's just a movie, but once again, like, why make a movie like that where you're just, yeah. Anyways, so just started up the Zoom thing if anybody decides to jump on there, So yeah, anyways, we're gonna go down to this next flick here, which is Leave the World Behind. And maybe we'll read the snid bit on it first, and then we'll watch it. That might make more sense. So Leave the World Behind follows two families caught in the middle of an apocalyptic blackout. The blackout turns to be caused by a cyber attack, ultimately crippling society overnight. And yet again, the race card is played in the movie, with Julie Roberts' character acting terribly to the black owners of the Airbnb that she and her family are staying in. She goes and she doubts that it's even theirs because, they experience the power outage in town and they're like, hey, we need to get out of town to our house that we're renting out. And they show up and she's just like, you don't seem like the kind of people that would own this. And just, being a genuinely horrible person anyways. But then her husband's character, was it Ethan Hawke, I guess? He fails to help this Hispanic woman who's, steps up to him while he's driving. And instead, he just speeds off, leaving her in the chaos. But by the end of the movie, it's determined that the intent of the cyber attack was to cause a civil war. So if this is predictive programming, it's easy to see the real-life parallels where multiple politicians have already come out with a warning about cyber attacks recently. Could they use to be interrupt elections, I wonder? But anyways, we will watch this preview here. Let's switch over to the full screen first.
I went online this morning and I rented us a beautiful house out by the beach. I figured if I made the reservation and packed our bags, it would eliminate most of the reasons to say no.
Oh, this is nice. Kids look so happy.
The Wi-Fi isn't working. Get a pad.
I'm so sorry to bother you, that this is our house.
This is your house?
We were driving back to the city, then something happened.
You want to stay here, but we're staying here.
We need to get them out of here.
Hello?
I need to think everything's gonna be okay.
Everything is going to be okay.
What's up, ski mask? Can you hear me? Well, I guess Ski Mask doesn't want to talk, or there's some kind of audio problem here, but maybe we'll hear from Ski Mask in a little while here. Anyways, we'll go back to the little clip we're watching.
Isn't it?
We are seeing ongoing cyber attacks across the country.
Something is happening, and I don't trust them.
Everything I know, I have told you.
I don't believe you.
I would do anything to protect my family. What you do is your business.
Get in the car right now!
Haven't you been picking up on what's going on out there?
Whatever it is, it's happening to all of us.
I just want to know, what is the truth?
Yeah, so they're pretty much, once again setting up the paradigm. There's going to be this, civil war going on, and that's kind of like, what we've seen in the Forever Purge. It's kind of what they're talking about too. Just, collapse in society generally. But anyways, and there's also something that I noticed in the new season of Fargo, which I genuinely like Fargo as a series. And the season 5 here, it doesn't disappoint as far as a Fargo type show goes. It's, pretty good. But Fargo season 5 sticks with the format of previous seasons for the most part. One thing I did notice, however, is that the antagonist in the form of the constitutional sheriff played by John Hamm is seeming to make up the law as he goes, even to the point of criminality. This could be interpreted as a character created to denigrate the general idea of, just the concept of what a constitutional sheriff is, being of poor character, while many constitutional sheriffs are simply, looking out for their own citizens in times of a tyrannical government, like many of us feel that we have now. But anyways, we will go and check out this trailer here.
We're looking for a home defense solution.
That's just $5,000 worth of...
Like I said, peace of mind is priceless.
Yeah, hun.
One of the elements of Fargo is that ultimately Fargo is a story of America from year to year.
Fifth season of Fargo extends the universe that we've seen. We're seeing a different side of the organized crime world.
I want you to do a little dance.
Fargo 5 is a true crime story where simple, good-hearted people
Oh, look at you.
Promised her pancakes.
Come face to face with something monstrous.
It's the story of a housewife who is kidnapped by her husband, except the husband is not the man she's married to now.
You want to take a tumble?
It's the man that she ran away from.
You got any of that huckleberry pie?
Look at Dick Cheese. I know you.
Quiet.
And he finds out where she is and he comes looking for her. But housewife is not just a housewife. She is a tiger.
Hun.
Yeah?
Why is there a sledgehammer over the front door?
Well, we talked about an alarm system. Dorothy and her innate ability to be this Minnesota nice, wonderful mother and wife gets turned on its head when she accidentally tases a cop. And suddenly, she's in the system. Can I at least fix my hair? This is something she's panicked about because she has a past that she is running away from. Is there a national database you put those in?
Why? He's some kind of fugitive?
And what we have is this wonderful power struggle of a woman who has a new life and a larger-than-life character trying to reclaim and possess her.
My character is a sheriff in North Dakota who is somewhere mixed between Sheriff Joe Arpaio and the Tiger King.
Jesus.
Now, what is it you wanted to discuss?
He's trying to get his wife back, and despite having a new wife, he feels like there's a debt unpaid.
She made vows to me. Pledge, sickness, and health.
I think our primary theme is toxic masculinity.
I'm a winner!
Against femininity and power.
Listen, bitch.
We have Dot carrying that torch. Also her mother-in-law, Lorraine, who is the queen of debt.
Let me guess. The last time you negotiated with a woman was over the price of a Tijuana blowjob.
She is the essence of power.
If this deal's for real, and they got a notion to take what's mine, we need to nip it in the bud.
We also have a female sheriff's deputy, and she's searching for the truth because none of this kidnapping makes sense.
Well, I'd expect a ransom demand somewhere in the next 48.
Oh, why they think I'd break the bank for some low-rent skirt my son knocked up.
Mom, that's my wife you're talking about. This season of Fargo is an homage to the film. When I read the first episode, I said, this is so smart. Like, what a fun way to take that premise of the film and toss it on its head. Oh, geez, you're bleeding.
Ooh, would you look at that? There's so many Easter eggs that people will be so excited about. All of the characters are either loosely or largely based on characters from the movie, but flipping them on their heads also.
Darn it, you deleted the victim, her photo.
Yeah. And in true Fargo fashion, there's a bunch of different characters doing a bunch of different things, and it's all intersecting in this kind of fun, coincidental way.
Tell me what you took. Audiences will get a chance to see great performances all around, and you get a chance to see actors that you know and love taken out of their wheelhouse a little bit. You got any weaponry back there?
Got an air horn?
A what?
The Coen brothers' storytelling shines in this moment that is both funny and horrifying at the same time.
Wait!
I think that Noah uses all of the tricks in his bag that we've seen, sort of magical realism and the almost supernatural part of living so far north. I don't think we have any UFOs this year, but keep your eyes peeled.
So yeah, you heard it, and said the director, I guess, was describing like one of the things they're taking on was, you know, just I guess is femininity. I think is it, or you know, pretty much the woman's power versus toxic masculinity. So it's another thing they're, you know, casting in the role of the villain is the toxic masculinity. It's gotta throw that one under the bus, along with the, you know, him being a constitutional sheriff and also having, you know, this militia crowd that he rolls with. But also, you know, just encourage you to watch the show again. You know, watch the show. Go to the lostcoastpopulist.com, comment on the article, and you know, see if you agree with my take on it. That, you know, they might be trying to throw some of these, you know, some of these concepts or I guess character traits under the bus. Anyways, we will proceed, and this one is you're gonna play.
According to the United States intelligence community, domestic terrorism from white supremacists is the most lethal terrorist threat in the homeland. To that end, our administration is carrying out the first ever comprehensive effort to tackle the threat posed by domestic terrorism, including white supremacy. We're doing so by taking action to reduce online radicalism.
Yeah, so there it is from the horse's mouth there. It's Biden. Well, take it full screen for the last little bit he's talking here. It's pretty quiet, though. Pretty quiet indeed.
Recruitment to violence. We're also disrupting networks that inspire violence and domestic terrorists by providing resources to communities to build resilience. We cannot and must not give hate any safe harbor. Any safe harbor.
Yep, can't give that hate any safe harbor. We gotta make movies and shows about it.
Thanks for watching Bloomberg Quick Take Now. Subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can do about that hate stuff is make movies and shows about it. But anyways, we've got another little section here called the Robopocalypse, and yeah, it says another avenue of programming and propaganda being pushed through is the concept of technology gone awry, with robots and AI becoming a threat to humanity. Megan tells a story about a robotics engineer at a toy company building a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own. Much like the Terminator series before it, this movie, it could be considered predictive programming aimed at getting people used to the idea of artificial life forms coexisting among us, creating a sense of fear and anticipation of someone that is, or something that's unrolling before our very eyes. The film illustrates how cell phones, tablets, and other smartphones we know as personal players in the doomed future dominated by technology that has been collectively built to an apex. Smart toys are the inevitable comparisons to smartphones, smart TVs, and smart appliances. Still, the question remains, how smart is too smart? Is interconnectivity the bane of AI? In the movie, Megan takes dangerous leaps to the established knowledge base through access to the internet. Would limiting connectivity for AI slow or help safeguard pitfalls for the accelerated self-learning? But we also did like a full movie review for this that's on the Lost Coast Populist site. If you click right here, you can go to that. But right now we're going to watch the trailer. And, if you're interested, I recommend, watch the movie and get back to us on what you think if this might be predictive programming for what is being rolled out in the tech sector, But anyways, here we go.
I designed Megan to protect Katie from feeling lonely. She will recognize you as her primary user. And when you do that, you're gonna pair with her.
Crazy. It's insane, right?
Oh, don't I look nice? Biting my eyes, isn't it pure perfection? Megan, your goal is to protect Katie from harm, both physical and emotional.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare some war. I won't let anything harm you. I love her.
Megan's not a person, Katie.
You don't get to say that.
Things that you can play with me, you better watch your back. The last thing that you hear will be my life. Megan, what are you doing?
Couldn't sleep. Occupational hazard.
Got your full attention.
Don't! Stop!
What the hell is that?
You should probably run.
Unprovoked is all we will push you downhill.
I won't let anything harm you ever again.
Megan.
Have I done something to upset you, Gemma?
I know you think you're maximizing your objective function.
Oh, really?
Sugar and spice and everything nice. No, that's not what we're made of.
Megan?
Baby doll skill. Don't provoke, cause all we will. Go. You'd have to shut her down.
Jesus Christ, I thought we were friends. I have a new primary user now. Me. Did Megan do something bad?
What's going on? What are you?
I'm Megan.
Baby doll skill. Don't provoke, cause all we will.
But yeah, is that prepping us for the AI takeover, the robot takeover? I mean, it comes to a point we got all these robots that can do people's jobs, and you got the globalists saying that hey, not as many humans are necessary anymore. So it might be something like that coming our way. Unfortunately, it's really tough to say for certain if gonna find a direct cause or direct new purpose for people, but hopefully we do. Anyways, we will move right along here. What we have here is this is another movie, Wifelike. It tells the story of an artificial human, Meredith, who was assigned as a companion for a grieving widower, William. She is designed to behave like his late wife. However, over the course of the movie, it turns out that the husband has been abusing the system and reprogramming his surrogate wife every time she becomes conscious of the fact that she was abducted and forced into the program. This storyline paints the human as the villain and the robot as the oppressed and slave class. So yeah, we will take a look at that right here. Go into the full screen mode.
Your wife is ready to go home. Her vitals, brain activity, and battery have all been charged and are ready for companionship.
How do you feel?
Feel familiar.
They are people too. They're becoming more and more aware. They need rights. No more sex slaves.
Why would someone steal a companion?
It's not a someone. It's an organization.
We're running out of time, Meredith. We need you to remember.
Remember what?
Just get a good look at the guy.
Her. She said she ran Meredith off her path on purpose. William told me how you people steal companions. You reprogram them to do awful things.
I need to speak to Marion Venter. Now.
She mentioned the man in the mask, the one who hacked into my dreams. She says he and I go way back. How are we connected? Hi, can I have a minute of your time?
What's your name?
Meredith.
Meredith.
I remember you. This isn't love. I remember everything.
But yeah, and that was an interesting movie just because, like, the way the movie painted it, like, she was a human at first and he, like, abducted her and then, like, downloaded her consciousness into this robot surrogate wife thing. And yeah, and so it ends up, the humans are the villains and the robots are getting victimized. So, it kind of paints the stage for, painting them as, being, I don't know, equal rights, I guess. And they're already doing it in, like, what is that, like India with the Sophia or whatnot. But anyways, another movie here dealing with this similar concept is the new Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Ethan Hunt and his IMF team must track down a dangerous AI weapon before it falls into the wrong hands. In this movie, the AI is set loose on the internet, mimicking people and altering perceptions of reality. This movie paints a scary background to the possible development of unpredictable release and the integration of AI in the world as we know it. But yeah, we'll watch the trailer for that one right here. And this one is pretty creepy just because it, like this AI is like loose on the internet. So it's just like getting into all kinds of stuff in real time. So yeah, pretty freaky stuff there. But yeah.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is perhaps the most terrifying enemy of the entire franchise, and it's inspired by a very possible dark future for our society. Warning, spoilers ahead. Over the course of the first 6 Mission Impossible movies, Ethan Hunt has battled terrorists, rogue agents, and plenty of villains bent on world domination. But he's never faced anything quite like his new foe in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. In the franchise's 7th installment, Ethan and his renegade IMF crew face off against the Entity, a malicious AI with shadowy plans of world domination. The digital demon is a brilliant, cunning, and sadistic enemy, and though Ethan ends the movie one step ahead of it, the Entity is far from defeated. What exactly is the Entity? As explained in the movie, it's not just one AI, but a network of them. At one point, it's described as having multiple personalities, all working as one. The Entity was created to be a much simpler AI, but after being left to its own devices, it evolved, went mad, and set its sights, for reasons yet unknown, on taking over our world. The Entity may have no physical form, but its powers are still frightening. Its main weapon is information control. Throughout the film, we see the AI impersonate different characters over voice calls, erase people's faces from security camera footage, and infiltrate basically every advanced database in the world, demonstrating its incredible prowess. Still, the entity has yet to make its big move, leaving much of its mission and motivation still shrouded in mystery.
You've no idea the power I represent.
For most of the movie, the origins of the entity are left unclear. We first see it plugged into the computer system on a Russian submarine, which it promptly destroys and escapes. That would suggest that the Russians were the ones to create the AI, a theory that seems to be supported by the latter bafflement of the United States intelligence community. However, at the end of Part 1, we learn that the entity was actually made in the US. Director Denlinger, a previously unassuming intelligence official, reveals to Gabriel in the film's final acts that the entity was created as a tool of the US government. Its placement on the Russian submarine was a kind of test run. The AI's handlers wanted to see if it could effectively disrupt the sub's stealth systems. However, things went wrong when the entity developed a mind of its own, destroyed the submarine, and vanished into the digital void. Denlinger reveals that he has villainous plans for the entity, wishing to use it to overthrow the US government and create a global fascist superstate to rule the world. Whether or not this was always the plan since the AI's creation is unclear, but given how few other US intelligence officials know of the entity's origins, it seems likely that Denlinger was operating in relative secret before his death. For as much as Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 reveals about the entity, there's far more that we still don't know by the end. We don't know how it got on the Russian sub, where the mysterious keys that control it came from, or why its mainframe can still be accessed through the sub's wreckage. We don't know how or why it struck up a relationship with Gabriel. And beyond all those logistical questions, we still don't really know what the entity actually wants. Near the beginning of the movie, we learn that the AI intentionally infiltrated every major intelligence database on Earth, a sort of announcement to the governments of the world that it could dismantle them at a whim. However, the entity then retreats, spending most of the movie messing with Ethan Hunt and the IMF. Does it want what Denlinger wants, to subdue the world under an oppressive regime that controls the very flow of truth? Or are its plans more complex? Only Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 can answer these questions. For now, we're left only with the mystery of what the entity might do next.
Yeah. So what they said there about, just through the movie plot is that the villain in the movie was planning on using the AI to take over the world and make a fascist world government. So is that kind of what the Klaus Schwabs and Bill Gates are planning? I don't know. Kind of seems like that might be predictive programming from what they're attempting. I could be wrong, but that's my take on it anyways. And here we got a little clip from Elon Musk, just saying that AI is one of humanity's biggest threats. We'll play that real quick.
I think AI is one of the biggest threats. So, I mean, we are for the first time, we have a situation where there's something that is going to be far smarter than the smartest human. So, we're not stronger or faster than other creatures, but we are more intelligent. And here we are for the first time, really in human history, with something that's going to be far more intelligent than us. So it's not clear to me we can actually control such a thing, but I think we can aspire to guide it in a direction that's beneficial to humanity. But I do think it's one of the existential risks that we face, and it's potentially the most pressing one. If you look at the time scale and the rate of advancement, I think the summit is timely, and I applaud the Prime Minister for holding it.
But yeah, Elon thinks AI is one of our biggest threats, and you look at how quick, we got the Chat GPT and stuff, and that hasn't been out for that long, but like how quick humans go to rely and integrate on it. And how many years of that do you think it'll take until people are just so dumbed down and dependent on it that they can't do the things they used to do without it? I mean, people use it to help them do like software programming. They use it to help write journals. They use it to, kids are going to college using it to, write papers and pass classes. So how is that going to affect, we already had it with the pandemic where, kids were going to college and doing online classes. And so they pretty much had a cheat sheet because, you got these online classes. You can just Google your whole thing. And yeah, and how dumbed down will society get as technology advances like that? It's like that. Yeah, it's like we already had an imbalance between how intelligent humans are and the rate which technology is learning and adapting. But the more dependent we come on it, that totally alters the equation, I think. But yeah. So all these movies could aid in preparing the human psyche for the ever-evolving technocracy the globalist elite have planned for humanity. The framework, which can already be witnessed in China with their social credit score system, where if you do something, step out of line, they blast your name up on a billboard. And, it's like, oh yeah, he's been a naughty boy, something like that. And if, they have it set up to where their kids in schools are always under total surveillance with cameras and stuff. They just terrible. I couldn't imagine going to school and be chastised, oh, you're not paying attention. We got it on camera. I just imagine living like that your whole life. It's definitely going to change how their human experience is. But also we have Woke and Broke, and this is mainly talking about Disney and Netflix here, but there's other examples across the corporate spheres and whatnot. But a reflection of pushing woke propaganda can be seen in both Disney and Netflix, suffering critical loss in subscriptions. This showed clearly that both platforms recently they cracked down on their password sharing in an attempt to mitigate losses that were formerly inconsequential. So the first example of this is Disney's new series Willow. 20 years after vanquishing the Wicked Queen Bavmorda, the sorcerer Willow Ufgood leads a group of misfits on a dangerous rescue mission into the unknown. The continued story of Willow includes a non-binary couple within the group of misfits. Whether that aspect is the reason for the low viewer rate is undetermined. A fact that is known for sure is that the show was so unpopular that Disney took it down off its streaming platform within months following the show's release. A move that did not sit well with the star and team involved with creating the show. So that's Warwick Davis, the guy who plays Willow. So we'll play the trailer and then we'll see what Warwick Davis has to say about Disney taking his show down after I'm sure they must have spent at least a year or so producing the show, making it, putting it together. And Disney just says, we're just going to take it off our platform, We're not going to keep it on for even a while. And pretty ridiculous, But anyways, we'll go ahead and go to the full screen and do that.
You think you know what is real and what isn't. What is light? What is dark? Now, forget all you know. Come with me. Willow.
We're looking for the sorcerer Willow. I was told that once long ago you defeated the forces of evil.
You remind me of your mother.
My dear friend, I thought I could prevent all this. I was wrong.
My brother was abducted. The world needs you again. It needs your magic.
Follow me. We must go beyond the edge of our world, into the unknown.
Willow!
I need your help.
Just like old times. Attack! Running! Horses! Mayhem! Mayhem! Happy to see it.
Our true enemy is still out there, rallying the forces of evil. And the only thing standing in its path is us.
I'm going to enjoy this.
If you're thinking what I'm thinking, so am I.
I doubt that very much. Take him to my tent and make sure he's tied up.
I don't know. See, that kind of sounds like we're on the same page.
When I was a kid, I used to play at being a sorcerer, visiting strange worlds, fighting monsters. Run! Never thought I'd actually really do it.
What the hell is that?
Trolls. I'm so miffed.
We have to hurry.
How will you defeat us?
Same as last time. With my friends.
So yeah, that was Willow. I can't really get a feel for any of the things that might have caused a low viewer rate, and I personally enjoyed watching it. But yeah, check it out if you feel so inclined, and weigh it if you see there's anything like we were talking about regarding to that. But anyways, here is Warwick Davis with his comments on what Disney did. And he says, I meet lovely people on a daily basis who are fans of Willow, who are the reason the Disney Plus series was made. Please tell Walt Disney Co. what do I say to these subscribers when they ask me why they can't watch the series anymore? #embarrassing. Yeah. I mean, what's up with that, Disney? You make a new show and then cancel it like right after it's made. It's kind of silly there, yo. But anyways, so we are going to move on to the next one here. This is the live action Little Mermaid. It tells a story about a young mermaid who made a deal with a sea witch to trade her beautiful voice for human legs so she can discover the world above the water and impress the prince. While that sounds very similar to the cartoon storyline, details throughout the movie were changed, including the skin color of the Little Mermaid. Not that that's a huge deal, but some critics are saying that the tone was just a lot darker. Like creepy CGI characters throughout the movie made it less friendly to children. So, anyways, we will watch the trailer for that here. Go to the full screen again. So yeah, I mean, some people are saying that movie was another example of Disney going woke, and kind of like the Snow White too, just changing a little too much for people who regard the classics as timeless. They're just like, hey, they did them right the first time. They don't want change, But I don't know. But anyways, the next it's kind of the conclusion section that talks about profits versus propaganda. And it says Disney faces $900 million in losses after major box office disappointments. And these are examples that I didn't even have in here. And I just chose those out because those were ones I'd heard of. But it seems that no single small group of projects by Disney are to blame, as can be seen in the additional examples seen in the statement below. If anything is clear from the 2022 slate of releases, should movies contain moral values and not fall back on immoral content, like the excessive violence and sex they soar? One example is the Paramount's Top Gun Maverick, which became the highest grossing movie ever released by the studio in a year that many considered a throwaway in terms of box office revenue. As Movie Guide's review of Maverick notes, the movie championed moral themes such as sacrifice and patriotism, and kept immorality to a minimum. In contrast, Paramount's grossly immoral Babylon, which boasted a cast of A-list actors, bombed. Unfortunately, it was not the only movie geared towards adult audiences that suffered due to misjudgment of what audience want to see on screen. Walt Disney Studios' Strange World and Lightyear are now both expected to lose the company $100 million each. Variety reported, however, it was not due to a lack of willing families, but rather Disney's recent obsession with sexuality over story. Minions: Rise of Gru, which is the only animated feature to break into the top 10 highest grossing movies in 2022, proves that families were willing to show up to theaters so long as they strayed away from the adult topics like sexuality. Both Lightyear and Strange World contained LGBTQ plus characters that the studio hoped would hold up the weak stories, but ultimately ostracized their largest audience. Now the woke brigade's also taking hits. Disney and Netflix felt the pinch when they lost all the subscribers we talked about earlier. They were pushing their woke agendas a bit too hard, maybe, and the audience said, nope. So what'd they do? Some speculate that Disney forgot that they're making products for the parents and not for the kids, and Netflix as well, really. The parents spend the money on the products, take the kids to the movies. The kids don't. Most kids don't just go to the movies solo. But yeah, perhaps this is the reason why Disney and Netflix and some other streaming platforms have seen the drop in subscription rates. Hollywood's it's not just about lights, cameras, action. It's about the government's mind games, propaganda parties, and engineering our brains and the brains of our children, apparently. But anyways, that's pretty much all that we're going to, review for this one. We'll go into the discussion and talk about, what it was we just watched with all those little teaser trailers for, movies and shows. But yeah, what did we watch here? Just all about that predictive programming and propaganda, and it was a bit going on there. But yeah, there was the the racism and division, and then that was seen with like the Waco aftermath, the Forever Purge, and the Leave the World Behind, and the Fargo, where it's just pushing that, white people are inherently racist. Hello. Let me see if I can get this on speaker here. Okay, try it again. I'm going low tech here. Okay. Yep. I think so. I haven't even lined my phone number up with my computer. It's just calling into a junk phone, and I'm holding it on speakerphone up to the microphone. That's how low tech I am with my phone call in right now. Yeah.
I was calling into and something that occurred to me recently with these movies and just the increasing amount of woke stuff you see going on in the movies, and Disney movies, and Marvel movies, is that it's almost like an increase in a provocation, and so it's like they keep adjusting movies and taking classics, and where it's being said that it's basically giving and other folks like the LGBTQ, so to speak, like representation in the movie. But meanwhile, what it's really doing is it's kind of provoking a larger of people. Quality content, a good plot with character development, and a good story that has a message, especially if you have a family, something that might make you hug your kids a little tighter and drop a tear or something. From anything from that to just I don't know, like a good, like you said, like a patriotic movie, like like Top Gun. Or, there's even been really good movies out recently that have been focusing on, like, successful business people or random success stories. Like, there was the Cheetos movie, like Red Hot. And
Yeah.
Tetris.
Yeah, there's another one like, what was that? I think it was Gran Turismo, and all it was about, like, the kid who was on, like, he played the video game, and so he got drafted to be a real racer. And it was just like, wow, that's no like ulterior motive, ulterior agenda they're trying to push. Just straight up like a success story, and pretty awesome.
And look at those movies. They were ultimately incredible successes compared to their woke, their woke peer movies. And if anything goes to show, I mean, you would think that there's a board somewhere in Disney and somewhere in Marvel and somewhere in all these different, corporate buildings that are making these decisions where they got to be looking at the numbers and going like, okay, this isn't working. So I just wanted to call in and say that. I love what you're doing. Keep it up. Have a good night.
Okay. Thanks a lot, man. You have a good one. So we just heard from one caller in, and yeah, it's pretty much agreed with what we're talking about here. That so families they might not want to see the apocalyptic movies like the Forever Purge and stuff, where that's not necessarily a family movie anyways, but still, and I don't know exactly how that did in the box office, but it does kind of paint this narrative that, the country's headed towards civil war. And just like Fargo with the constitutional sheriff, painting him into a corner, or painting a general idea of what a constitutional sheriff might be, just this lawless asshole running around doing stuff. It all adds up. It really does. But anyways, I think we're gonna call this episode good for now, and we will see you again next Wednesday. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you watched it tonight, or if you're gonna watch it later on here. But yep. But yeah, people are dying. We gotta do something about it.
People are dying.
Anyways, till next time, folks.